The alarm screamed through the halls of Research Station. Nexus 7, red lights flashed in every corridor as Commander Du Haiyan ran toward the docking bay. His boots made heavy sounds on the metal floor. Behind him, 20 security guards followed. With their weapons ready, what is the situation? Du Haiyan asked into his communication device. The alien ship crashed into Docking Bay 3, came the reply from Security Chief Tae-min. The creature inside is still alive but badly hurt. We need to move fast before it wakes up. Du Haiyan reached the damaged docking bay and stopped. The sight before him made his breath catch in his throat. A strange black ship had torn through the outer wall. Metal and glass were scattered everywhere. Smoke filled the air. In the middle of the destruction lay the largest living being he had ever seen. The creature was 12 feet tall even while lying on its side. Its body was covered in black scales that looked like polished stone. Each scale was the size of a human hand. Wings stretched out from its back, torn and bleeding. The wing membranes had strange patterns that glowed with a soft blue light even though the creature was unconscious. "It looks like a dragon," whispered one of the guards. Du Haiyan studied the alien carefully. The creature had a long neck and a head that was both beautiful and frightening. Its closed eyes were large and shaped like almonds. Sharp teeth showed between slightly open lips. 4 arms ending in clawed hands lay still against the floor. The creature's breathing was slow and labored. "Sir, should we kill it now while it cannot fight back?" asked Tae-min. "No," Du Haiyan said firmly. "We need to study it. This is the first living alien we have ever found. Dr. Hae-won will want to examine it." The guards looked nervous. One of them pointed at the creature's claws. "Look at the size of those weapons. This thing could kill us all." Du Haiyan understood their fear. The alien's claws were longer than kitchen knives and looked sharp enough to cut through metal. But he also saw something else. The creature's body position and the way it breathed reminded him of a wounded animal seeking shelter. "Get the containment unit ready," Du Haiyan ordered. "We move it to the maximum security bay." It took 30 people and 3 heavy lifting machines to move the unconscious alien. The creature was much heavier than it looked. During the transport, its bioluminescent patterns flickered like a dying light bulb. Some of the guards said it looked like the creature was dreaming. The maximum security containment bay was the strongest prison on the station. It had energy barriers that could stop a spaceship. The walls were made of the hardest materials known to humans. Cameras watched every corner. The bay was designed to hold the most dangerous criminals in the galaxy. They placed the alien on a specially made bed in the center of the bay. Medical robots scanned its body and began treating its wounds. The creature had many injuries from the crash. Its right wing was broken. Deep cuts covered its arms and legs. But the most concerning thing was its life signs. The alien's heart rate was too fast, and its brain activity was strange. Dr. Hae-won arrived as they finished setting up the containment systems. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She had spent her whole life studying alien life forms, but had never seen anything like this creature. "Remarkable," she said as she looked at the sleeping alien. "The bone structure suggests it comes from a high-gravity planet. The wing design shows it can fly in thick atmospheres. And these bioluminescent patterns must be some form of communication." "Can you tell if it is male or female?" Du Haiyan asked. "Based on the bone structure and muscle development, I believe it is male," Dr. Hae-won replied. "But we will need more tests to be sure." "What about intelligence? Is it smart enough to be dangerous?" Dr. Hae-won pointed to the alien's large skull. "The brain size suggests high intelligence, possibly equal to or greater than humans. We must be very careful when it wakes up." As if responding to her words, the alien's eyes suddenly opened. They were a bright amber color that seemed to glow from within. The creature looked around the containment bay with obvious confusion. When it saw the humans watching from outside the energy barrier, its eyes narrowed. The alien tried to sit up but fell back down with a sound of pain. Its wings spread slightly and the bioluminescent patterns began to pulse faster. The creature's mouth opened and it made a sound unlike anything the humans had ever heard. It was part roar, part song, and part cry of anguish. "It sounds like it is in pain," said Dr. Haywan. "Not just physical pain, emotional pain." The alien tried to stand. Again, this time it managed to get to its feet, though it swayed dangerously. It was even more impressive standing upright. Its head nearly touched the ceiling of the containment bay. The creature looked at each human face outside the barrier. Its amber eyes held an intelligence that made everyone uncomfortable. Then the alien did something unexpected. It placed one clawed hand over its heart and made a series of soft sounds. The sounds were rhythmic and almost musical. The bioluminescent patterns on its wings pulsed in time with the sounds. "I think it is trying to communicate," Dr. Haywan said excitedly. "This could be its language." But Commander Du-Hyen was more concerned about the alien's body language. The creature kept looking toward the door of the containment bay. Its head moved back and forth as if it was searching for something. Its hands clenched and unclenched. The alien's breathing became faster and more shallow. "It looks like it is looking for something," Du-Hyen observed. "Or someone." The alien made more sounds, louder this time. The musical quality was gone. Now, the sounds were sharp and urgent. The creature moved to the energy barrier and pressed its hands against it. The barrier sparked and flashed red warnings appeared on the control panels. "Sir, the containment field is holding, but the alien is generating." "Some kind of electrical charge," reported Taemin. "The energy output is increasing." The alien stepped back from the barrier and tilted its head upward. It opened its mouth wide and let out a sound that shook the entire station. The roar was so loud that several guards had to cover their ears. The sound went on for nearly a minute. When the roar finally ended, the alien collapsed to its knees. Its shoulders shook and more soft sounds came from its throat. To everyone's surprise, the sounds were very similar to human crying. "What do? You think it wants?" Du-Hyen asked Dr. Haywan. The doctor watched the alien carefully. The creature was still making the crying sounds. Its bioluminescent patterns had dimmed to almost nothing. It looked smaller somehow, less threatening and more sad. "I think," Dr. Haywan said slowly, "that this creature is not a warrior or a scout. I think it is a parent looking for its child." 3 weeks had passed since the alien dragon arrived at Research Station Nexus 7. Commander Du-Hyen stood in his office looking at the damage reports on his desk. Every day brought new problems caused by the creature in Containment Bay 7. "Sir, we have another situation," Security Chief Taemin said as he entered the office. His uniform was torn and he had a bandage on his left arm. "The alien attacked the feeding team again. Guard Minho is in the medical bay with second-degree burns." Du-Hyen rubbed his tired eyes. "That makes 6 guards injured this week. What happened this time?" "We tried to give it the synthetic protein mixture that Dr. Haywan prepared," Taemin explained. "The creature looked at the food and then threw it against the wall. When Minho tried to clean up the mess, the alien grabbed the energy barrier with both hands. The electrical discharge was so strong it overloaded the containment field for 10 seconds. 10 seconds? Du-Hyen stood up quickly. That could have been enough time for it to escape. "The creature did not try to escape," Taemin said with confusion in his voice. "It just stood there staring at the door. Then it started making those terrible sounds again." Du-Hyen walked to the window of his office. He could see the containment bay from here. Even through the thick walls, he could hear the alien's roars echoing through the station. The sounds had been getting louder and more frequent each day. "Has it eaten anything at all?" Du-Hyen asked. "Nothing," Taemin replied. "Dr. Haywan says the creature is slowly starving itself. She thinks it might die within 2 weeks if this continues." The alien's roar filled the air again. This time it was different. The sound was so deep and powerful that the windows in Du-Hyen's office vibrated. Emergency lights began flashing as the station's computers detected the sound waves. "Computer, report status of Containment Bay 7, Du-Hyen said aloud. "Containment field holding at 85% strength," the computer replied. "Energy barriers showing stress fractures. Recommend immediate repairs." Du-Hyen and Taemin looked at each other with worry. The containment bay was supposed to Be unbreakable. But the alien's increasing rage was slowly destroying it from the inside. They walked quickly to the containment bay. Outside the energy barrier, Dr. Haywon was studying readings on her tablet. Her face looked pale and concerned. "Doctor, what is the creature's condition?" Du-Hyan asked. "Not good," Dr. Haywon replied without looking up from her tablet. "Its body temperature is higher than normal. Heart rate is dangerously fast. The bioluminescent patterns are completely chaotic. Most concerning is the brain activity. The scans show it is experiencing severe psychological distress." Inside the containment bay, the alien paced back and forth like a caged animal. Its massive form moved with surprising grace despite its obvious weakness. The creature's wings were partially spread and the glowing patterns on them flashed in angry reds and oranges. "It looks thinner than before," Du-Hyan observed. "It has lost approximately 15% of its body weight," Dr. Haywon confirmed. "The refusal to eat is not just stubborn behavior. In some Earth animals, extreme stress can cause them to stop eating entirely. I believe this creature is experiencing something similar." The alien suddenly stopped pacing and turned to look directly at the humans outside its prison. Its amber eyes were now surrounded by dark circles. The creature's breathing was heavy and labored. It opened its mouth and made a series of soft sounds that were almost like words. "Have you made any progress translating its language?" Du-Hyan asked. "Some," Dr. Haywon replied. "The creature seems to repeat certain sound patterns. I think these might be names or important words, but without more context, I cannot understand what it is trying to say." The alien moved closer to the energy barrier. It placed both hands against the glowing wall and began to make those soft sounds again. The patterns on its wings changed to a deep blue color. For a moment, the creature looked almost peaceful, then something changed. The alien's head snapped upward as if it had heard something. Its eyes widened and it pressed harder against the barrier. The peaceful blue patterns turned to bright red. The creature opened its mouth and let out a roar that was different from all the others. "That sounded like a name," Dr. Haywon said with excitement. "It sounded like the creature was calling someone." The alien began hitting the energy barrier with its fists. Each impact sent sparks flying and made the containment field flicker. Warning alarms began to sound throughout the station. "All security teams to Containment Bay 7, Du-Hyan ordered into his communication device. "Emergency protocols now." 20 guards arrived within minutes. They carried the strongest weapons the station had. But as they took positions around the containment bay, Du-Hyan noticed something strange. The alien was not trying to break out. Instead, it was looking past them toward the corridor beyond. "It keeps looking toward the civilian quarters," Taemin observed. "Why would it care about that section of the station?" The alien pressed its face against the energy barrier. Its amber eyes were filled with desperation. It made more of those soft sounds that might have been words. The creature's voice had become hoarse from all the roaring. Dr. Jinwoo, the station's psychologist, arrived to assess the situation. He was a quiet man who specialized in understanding behavior under extreme stress. He watched the alien carefully for several minutes. "Commander, I believe this creature is experiencing what we would call a psychological breakdown," Dr. Jinwoo said. "The behavior patterns match what we see in humans who have lost someone very important to them." "Lost someone?" Du-Hyan asked. "The pacing, the refusal to eat, the constant vocalization," Dr. Jinwoo explained. "These are classic signs of grief and anxiety. This creature is not just angry about being captured. It is worried about someone else." The alien suddenly stopped its attacks on the barrier. It moved to the center of the containment bay and sat down heavily. The creature wrapped its wings around its body like a blanket. The bioluminescent patterns dimmed to almost nothing. "Now it looks depressed," Dr. Jinwoo noted. "This emotional cycle of rage followed by despair is very concerning. If this continues, the creature might harm itself." "Sir, the containment field is down to 70%, reported a technician. "The alien's electrical discharges are overloading the system faster than we can repair it." Du-Hyun realized they were facing a serious problem. The alien was slowly destroying its prison while also destroying itself. But they still had no way to communicate with it or understand what it wanted. "Double the guard rotations," Du-Hyun ordered, "and keep working on the translation systems. We need to find a way to talk to this creature before it kills itself or breaks free." As the guards took their positions, none of them noticed the small human girl watching from the ventilation grate above. 8-year-old So Young had been having strange dreams for weeks. Something was calling to her from deep inside the station. The voice in her dreams sounded sad and desperate. Tonight she had finally found the courage to investigate. As she looked down at the massive alien creature below, So Young felt a strange recognition. The creature's amber eyes were exactly like the eyes she saw in her dreams. The alien looked up suddenly, as if it had sensed her presence. For a moment their eyes met through the metal grate. The creature's expression changed from rage to something that looked like hope. So Young did not understand why, but she felt tears forming in her eyes. The creature below was not a monster. It was someone looking for something very important. Someone looking for family? The morning started like any other day on Research Station Nexus 7. 8-year-old So Young ate breakfast with her adoptive mother Miran in their small apartment in the civilian quarters. Miran worked as a teacher on the station and had taken care of So Young for the past 8 months. "You look tired again," Miran said with concern. "Are you having those bad dreams?" So Young nodded slowly. The dreams had been getting stronger every night. She dreamed of flying through space, of a warm voice calling her name, of amber eyes filled with love. But she also dreamed of pain and sadness and terrible loneliness. "Maybe we should visit Dr. Jinwoo again," Miran suggested. "He might be able to help with the nightmares." "No," So Young said quickly. "I am fine. The dreams are not scary anymore. They are just sad." Miran reached over and touched So Young's forehead. "You feel warm. Are you getting sick?" So Young did feel strange. Her skin felt hot and itchy. Sometimes she thought she could see things that were not there. Colors seemed brighter than normal. Sounds seemed louder. And deep inside the station, something was calling to her. "I need to go to school," So Young said, standing up from the table. "Wait," Miran said. "You forgot your jacket?" So Young looked down at her arms. For just a moment she thought she saw tiny scales glittering on her skin, but when she looked again, there was nothing there. Just normal human skin. At school, So Young could not concentrate on her lessons. The calling sound in her head was getting stronger. It sounded like singing, but also like crying. During lunchtime, she told her teacher she needed to use the bathroom and then slipped away. The civilian quarters were connected to the rest of the station by long corridors. So Young had explored many of them during her 8 months on Nexus 7. She knew which areas were restricted and which ones she could visit. But today she felt drawn to places she had never been before. She followed the calling sound deeper into the station. The corridors became wider and more official-looking. Signs on the walls warned that only authorized personnel could enter certain areas. But So Young kept walking. The sound in her head was getting stronger. Meanwhile, in the maintenance section, worker Ji-Hun was trying to fix a broken ventilation system. The alien's electrical discharges had been damaging equipment throughout the station. Ji-Hun was tired and frustrated as he worked on the complex wiring. "This is the third system this week," he muttered to himself. "That creature is destroying everything." As he reached for a wrench, Ji-Hun accidentally knocked over a toolbox. The metal tools scattered across the floor with a loud crash. The sound echoed through the maintenance tunnels and triggered the station's automatic security system. Red lights began flashing in the corridors. Warning alarms sounded throughout the station. The computer's voice announced, "Security breach. In Maintenance Section 12. All personnel report to emergency stations." The alarm sound was loud and frightening. Throughout the station, people stopped what they were doing and looked for safe places to wait. In the civilian quarters, Miran realized that So Young was not in school. She began searching for her daughter in a panic. So Young was in the restricted section when the alarm started. The flashing red lights and loud sirens should have scared her. But instead, the sound seemed to wake something up inside her. The calling voice in her head became clearer and more urgent. Guards ran past her in the corridor, heading toward the maintenance section. In the confusion, no one noticed the small girl walking in the opposite direction. So Young felt like she was in a dream. Her feet seemed to know where to go without her thinking about it. She reached a heavy metal door, marked Authorized Personnel Only. The door should have been locked, but it was slightly open. So Young could hear something beyond the door. Not the alarm sounds, but a different sound. A deep, rhythmic humming that seemed to vibrate in her bones. So Young pushed the door open and stepped inside. She found herself in a large room filled with computer screens and control panels. Through a thick window, she could see into another room. In that room was the largest living creature she had ever seen. The alien dragon sat in the center of the containment bay with his wings wrapped around his body. His amber eyes were closed, and he was making the humming sound that So Young had been hearing in her dreams. The sound was not frightening at all. It was warm and comforting and familiar. So Young walked to the window and pressed her small hands against the glass. As soon as she touched it, the alien's eyes opened. He looked directly at her and the humming stopped. For a long moment they stared at each other. The alien's amber eyes were exactly like the ones in So Young's dreams. But they were also like the eyes she saw when she looked in the mirror. The same color, the same shape, the same way of looking at the world. The alien slowly stood up and walked to the energy barrier. He was so tall that he had to bend down to look at So Young through the window. His massive hand pressed against the barrier in the same place where her small hand pressed against the glass. "Nari," the alien said softly. His voice was deep and musical. "Nari, my daughter." So Young felt something change inside her. The name Nari felt right, like putting on clothes that fit perfectly. She had always been So Young, but before that, she had been Nari. The memories started coming back slowly. She remembered flying through space in her father's arms. She remembered a warm planet with 2 suns and crystalline cities. She remembered her mother, who had been human like Miran, and her father, who was like the creature in front of her now. "Appa," So Young whispered. The Korean word for father felt natural on her lips. "Appa, I remember you." The alien's bioluminescent patterns began to glow brighter. The angry reds and oranges changed to soft blues and purples. His massive body trembled with emotion as he looked at his daughter. So Young felt changes happening in her own body. Her brown eyes shifted to amber. Her skin began to shimmer with barely visible scales. Her human appearance was just a disguise, a way to stay safe among the people who had rescued her. "I was scared," So Young said, speaking both in Korean and in the musical language of her father's people. "I was on the transport ship when the bad men attacked. I changed my shape to look human so they would not hurt me." The alien pressed both hands against the energy barrier. His voice was gentle now, full of love and relief. "I have been looking for you for so long. I thought you were dead." Dr. Hae-won chose that moment to enter the observation room. She had been monitoring the alien's behavior and noticed the sudden change in his bioluminescent patterns. When she saw the small girl standing at the window, she stopped in shock. "Child, you should not be here," Dr. Hae-won said. "This area is dangerous." But as she spoke, Dr. Hae-won noticed something strange. The alien's behavior had completely changed. He was no longer angry or violent. Instead, he looked peaceful and happy. And the child was not afraid of him at all. "Doctor," So Young said, turning to face her. "This is my father. He came to find me." Dr. Hae-won looked at the child's amber eyes and the faint scales on her skin. She looked at the alien's gentle expression and the way he watched the girl with obvious love. Understanding dawned on her face. "You are not fully human," Dr. Hae-won said softly. "You are his daughter." So Young nodded. "I am both. My mother was human and my father is draconian. I can change my shape, but I am still me inside." The alien spoke in his musical language, and So Young translated. He says his name is Valthar. He is a healer from the planet Draconis. He has been searching for me since my transport ship was attacked 8 months ago. Dr. Hay-1 felt tears forming in her eyes. The alien's violent behavior suddenly made perfect sense. He had not been a warrior or a scout. He had been a desperate father, looking for his lost child. "We must tell Commander Duhayan immediately," Dr. Hay-1 said. "This changes everything." Commander Duhayan arrived at the containment bay within minutes of Dr. Hay-1's urgent call. He expected to find another crisis with the alien dragon. Instead, he found something that made him stop and stare in amazement. The massive alien creature was sitting peacefully near the energy barrier. His bioluminescent patterns glowed with soft blue and purple colors. His amber eyes were focused on the small human girl who stood just outside his prison. But as Duhayan looked closer, he realized the girl was not entirely human. "Commander, meet Nari," Dr. Hay-1 said quietly. "She is Valthar's daughter." Duhayan looked at the child's amber eyes and the faint scales that shimmered on her arms. "This is impossible. She has been living in the civilian quarters for 8 months. We scanned everyone who came aboard. She can change her appearance," Dr. Hay-1 explained. "It is a natural ability of her species. She has been hiding among us as a human child named So Young." Valthar spoke in his musical language, and Nari translated for the humans. "My father says he is grateful that you saved me from the space pirates. He knows you did not understand who I was." Duhayan felt confused and amazed at the same time. "You mean she was on the transport ship that was attacked 8 months ago?" "Yes," Nari replied. "When the bad men came, my mother told me to change my shape and hide. She said to look human so they would not hurt me. But she did not survive the attack." Valthar's bioluminescent patterns dimmed with sadness as Nari spoke about her mother. He pressed his large hand against the energy barrier, wishing he could comfort his daughter properly. "I have been having dreams about him," Nari continued. "Every night I could hear him calling for me. But I was scared to remember who I really was. The human family that adopted me is very kind. I did not want to lose them too." Security Chief Taemin and several guards had arrived during the conversation. They watched the scene with wonder and confusion. The alien that had been so violent and dangerous now seemed gentle and caring. "Sir, what are your orders?" Taemin asked. "Should we maintain full security protocols?" Duhayan studied the alien carefully. Valthar was still a massive and powerful creature, but his entire behavior had changed since seeing his daughter. The desperate rage was gone, replaced by obvious love and relief. "Lower the security level to yellow," Duhayan decided. "But keep the containment field active for now." Miran arrived at that moment, breathless from running through the station. She had been searching everywhere for So Young when she heard about the situation in the containment bay. "So Young, there you are," Miran said with relief. "I was so worried about you." The little girl turned to face her adoptive mother. Tears were streaming down her face. "Amma, I am sorry. I did not mean to lie to you, but I'm not really So Young. My real name is Neri." Miran looked at the child's amber eyes and scales with shock, but her expression quickly changed to understanding and love. "It does not matter what your name is or what you look like. You are still my daughter." Nari ran to Miran and hugged her tightly. "I do not want to lose you. You saved me and took care of me. You are my human mother. And you will always be my daughter," Miran said firmly. "Nothing will change that." Valthar watched this exchange with interest. When Nari translated Miran's words, he spoke in his musical language. His voice was deep and grateful. "My father wants to thank you for taking care of me," Nari told Miran. "He says you are a good mother, and he is grateful that I was not alone." Miran looked up at the massive alien with surprise. Despite his frightening appearance, she could see intelligence and kindness in his amber eyes. "Tell him he is welcome." So Young Nari is a wonderful child. Dr. Jin Woo had been watching the reunion with fascination. This explains everything about the alien's behavior, he said to Du Hyan. He was not violent by nature. He was experiencing parental grief and desperation. But why did he attack our people? Du Hyan asked. Nari translated the question to her father. Velthar's reply was long and emotional. He says he was not trying to hurt anyone, Nari explained. But when Draconians lose their children, they enter a state called blood grief. It makes them very strong, but also very angry. He could not control it. Is he still dangerous? Taemin asked. Velthar heard the question and responded immediately. He knelt down near the energy barrier and placed both hands on the ground. His bioluminescent patterns changed to a soft white color. He is showing submission, Nari translated. This is how our people apologize for causing harm. He says he will accept any punishment for hurting your guards. Du Hyan felt his opinion of the alien changing completely. This was not a monster or an invader. This was a father who had been driven to desperation by the loss of his child. Tell him that we understand why he was angry, Du Hyan said. We would feel the same way if we lost our children. When Nari translated these words, Velthar's eyes filled with what looked like tears. He spoke again in his musical language, and his patterns glowed brighter. He says humans are more understanding than he expected, Nari translated. He wants to know if he can give me a proper greeting. Du Hyan looked at the child's hopeful face and her father's gentle expression. Dr. Hay-1, is it safe to lower the energy barrier for a few minutes? His vital signs are completely stable, Dr. Hay-1 confirmed. I believe he is no longer a threat. Du Hyan nodded to the technician. Lower the barrier. The energy field flickered and disappeared. For the first time in weeks, nothing separated Velthar from the rest of the station. The guards tensed, ready to reactivate the barrier at the first sign of trouble, but Velthar did not move toward the exit. Instead, he slowly reached out one massive hand toward his daughter. Nari stepped forward and placed her small hand in his large one. The moment they touched, both of their bioluminescent patterns synchronized. They glowed with the same soft blue light, pulsing in the same rhythm. Velthar carefully lifted his daughter and held her against his chest. Nari, my little star, he said in Korean, having learned the language from listening to the station's communications. I thought I would never see you again. I missed you so much, Appa, Nari replied, switching between Korean and their native language. I was scared you would not find me. Everyone in the room watched the reunion with tears in their eyes. The love between father and daughter was obvious and beautiful. It was a reminder that some bonds are stronger than any difference in species or appearance. What happens now? Miron asked quietly. Velthar heard the question and responded while still holding his daughter. He says he wants to stay here with me, Nari translated. He knows that I have a life here now. He does not want to take me away from the people who saved me. But what about your home planet? Du Hyan asked. He says home is where family is, Nari replied. And now his family is here? Commander Du Hyan realized that this moment would change everything. The first contact between humans and Draconians would not be remembered as a violent encounter. Instead, it would be remembered as a story of love, loss, and reunion. Dr. Hay-1, Du Hyan said, I think we need to contact Earth Command. We have a lot to discuss about our new diplomatic situation. 2 weeks after the reunion, Research Station Nexus 7 had become a very different place. The containment bay had been converted into comfortable living quarters for Velthar. The energy barriers were gone, replaced by a simple door that he could open whenever he wanted. Dr. Hay-1 spent most of her time learning about Draconian culture and biology from Velthar. With Nari translating, she discovered amazing things about his species. Draconians were natural healers who could use their bioluminescent patterns and electrical abilities to help sick and injured beings. Show her how you healed Guard Minho, Nari said to her father in their musical language. Velthar nodded and gestured for Minho to come closer. The guard had been badly burned during one of the aliens' electrical attacks weeks ago. His arm was still covered in bandages and healing slowly. Are you sure this is safe? Minho asked nervously. Trust him, Nari said with a smile. My father is the best healer on our planet. Velthor gently placed his large hands near Minho's injured arm. His bioluminescent patterns began to glow with a soft green light. The patterns pulsed in a steady rhythm, and Minho felt a warm, tingling sensation in his arm. The pain is going away, Minho said with surprise. I can feel it healing. When Velthor removed his hands, Minho unwrapped the bandages. The burned skin was completely healed, leaving only smooth, healthy flesh. The guard stared at his arm in amazement. How is this possible? Dr. Haywan asked. Nari translated her father's explanation. He says that draconians can speed up the natural healing process in living tissue. The bioluminescent patterns create specific frequencies that help cells repair themselves. This could revolutionize human medicine, Dr. Haywan said excitedly. Could he teach us how to do this? Velthor considered the question carefully before answering. He says humans do not have the right biology to heal like draconians, Nari translated. But he could work with human doctors to help treat patients. Commander Duhayan had been watching the healing demonstration with great interest. This changes our entire understanding of first contact protocols, he said. We assumed that any alien species would be either hostile or neutral. We never considered that they might be beneficial. Dr. Jin Wu had been studying the psychological aspects of the human-draconian interaction. The most fascinating thing is how both species have shown the capacity for empathy and understanding, he observed. Despite the initial fear and violence, we found common ground through family bonds. Nari was adapting well to her dual identity. During the day, she attended school with the other human children. But she also spent time with her father, learning about draconian culture and practicing her natural abilities. Watch this, Nari said to her human friends during lunch. She concentrated hard, and her appearance began to change. Her brown hair turned silver like her father's scales. Her skin developed a subtle shimmer. Her eyes glowed with amber light. That is so cool, said her friend Dongwu. Can you fly? Like your father? Not yet, Nari replied, changing back to her human appearance. Father says I need to grow bigger first. But I can do other things. She held up her hand, and small sparks of electricity danced between her fingers. The other children watched in wonder, completely accepting of their friend's unique abilities. Miran had been worried about how to handle Nari's dual nature, but she found that love and understanding made everything easier. You are still my daughter, no matter what form you take, she told Nari. But I am glad you can spend time with your father, too. I am lucky to have two families, Nari replied. My draconian family and my human family, both are important to me. Velthor had been learning about human culture as well. He was particularly interested in human art and music. When he heard Miran singing a lullaby to Nari, he was deeply moved. Humans use sound for emotional expression, just like draconians, he said in his improving Korean. But your melodies are different from ours. More ... Would you like to learn some human songs? Miran asked. Velthor nodded enthusiastically. Soon, the strange sight of a 12-foot dragon humming Korean lullabies became common in the civilian quarters. The other residents found it charming rather than frightening. The station's crew had initially been nervous about having a powerful alien living among them. But Velthor's gentle nature and helpful abilities quickly won them over. When engineer Sujin injured her back while repairing a damaged power conduit, Velthor healed her completely in just a few minutes. I have been in pain for 3 months, Sujin said with tears of gratitude. Human medicine could not help me, but he fixed it so easily. Word of Velthor's healing abilities spread throughout the station. Soon people were coming to him with all kinds of injuries and illnesses. He never refused to help, treating each person with the same gentle care. My father says healing is the most important gift his people can share, Nari explained to Dr. Hey, 1. On our planet, healers are respected more than warriors or leaders. That explains why he was so peaceful once he found you, Dr. Haywan realized. His violent behavior was completely against his nature. Commander Duhayan had been in communication with Earth Command about the situation. The response was mixed. Some officials were excited about the potential for peaceful relations with an advanced alien species. Others were concerned about security and the possibility of more Draconians arriving. What does Velthor know about his people's intentions toward humanity? Duhayan asked during one of their daily meetings. Nari translated the question. He says most Draconians do not even know humans exist, she replied. His people are explorers and healers, not conquerors. They travel the galaxy looking for new knowledge and opportunities to help others. But surely they have weapons and military forces, Duhayan pressed. They have defenses, Nari admitted. But Father says Draconians prefer to avoid conflict. They would rather heal enemies than fight them. This news was both reassuring and concerning to Earth Command. A peaceful species was preferable to a hostile one, but it also meant that Draconians might be vulnerable to more aggressive civilizations. Has your father encountered other alien species during his travels? Dr. Haywan asked. Velthor's response was long and detailed. He says there are many species in the galaxy, Nari translated. Some are friendly, some are neutral, and some are dangerous. The ones who attacked my mother and me were called the Korath. They are space pirates who steal and kill for profit. Are they still a threat? Duhayan asked with concern. Father says they avoid areas with strong defenses, Nari replied. But they might come back if they learn about this station. This information added urgency to the discussions with Earth Command. The station's defenses were designed to handle small-scale conflicts, not organized pirate attacks. We need to consider requesting additional security forces, Duhayan told his senior staff. And we need to learn more about potential threats in this region of space. Meanwhile, Velthor had been working on a project of his own. Using his knowledge of Draconian technology and the station's equipment, he had been building a long-range communication device. What is he making? Dr. Haywan asked as she watched him work. A way to talk to other Draconians, Nari explained. He wants to tell them about humans and ask for help protecting this station. Is that wise? Duhayan asked. We do not know how his people will react to learning about us. Velthor paused in his work and spoke directly to Duhayan in Korean. Humans saved my daughter, he said slowly. Draconians will be grateful. We pay debts of honor. He means that his people will want to help us because we helped him, Nari clarified. It is a cultural obligation. Duhayan realized that this first contact situation was becoming more complex by the day. But he also saw the potential for something wonderful. If humans and Draconians could work together, both species might benefit greatly. Complete your communication device, Duhayan told Velthor. It is time for our species to meet officially. 3 months after first contact, Research Station Nexus 7 was preparing for the most important day in human history. A Draconian diplomatic ship was approaching the station. Responding to Velthor's long-range communications, Commander Duhayan stood in the main observation deck, watching the alien vessel approach. The ship was beautiful, with flowing curves that looked more like art than technology. Its hull shimmered with the same bioluminescent patterns that decorated Velthor's scales. Incoming transmission from the Draconian vessel, announced communications. Officer Kyung-ho. Put it through, Duhayan ordered. The view screen filled with the image of a female Draconian. She was slightly smaller than Velthor, with silver and blue scales and gentle amber eyes. When she spoke, her voice was musical and warm. Greetings, humans of Station Nexus 7, she said in perfect Korean. I am Healer Zerlin, representing the Draconian Council. We come in peace and gratitude. Nari, who was standing beside Duhayan, gasped with excitement. I know her, she said. She is my father's sister, my aunt. Velthor had been preparing for this moment for weeks. He stood proudly in his new diplomatic robes, specially designed by the station's tailors to accommodate his wings and large frame. His bioluminescent patterns glowed with calm, welcoming colors. Permission to dock granted, Duhayan replied. We welcome you to our station. The docking process was smooth and efficient. The Draconian ship sealed perfectly with the station's airlocks despite being built with completely different technology. It was a sign of the advanced engineering capabilities of both species. Healer. Zarlin entered the station accompanied by two other Draconians. One was a tall male with dark green scales who was introduced as Scholar Kethver. The other was a younger female with bright purple patterns who was called Engineer Yelanin. The reunion between Velther and his sister was emotional and beautiful. They touched foreheads in the traditional Draconian greeting, and their bioluminescent patterns synchronized into a complex display of colors and shapes. "Brother, you look well," Zarlin said in their musical language. "We feared you were dead when your ship disappeared." "I am alive because of these humans," Velther replied. "They saved my daughter and showed me kindness even when I was violent and dangerous." Nari ran to her aunt and was swept up in a gentle embrace. "Aunt Zara, I missed you so much," she said, switching between Korean and Draconian. "I want you to meet my human family." The introductions were warm and friendly. Miran was nervous about meeting alien beings, but Zaralin's kind nature quickly put her at ease. "Thank you for caring for our little star," Zarlin said to Miran. "Velther has told us how much you love her." "She is my daughter in every way that matters," Miran replied. "I will always be here for her." "We understand," Zarlin said with a gentle smile. "Draconians believe that family is created by love, not just by blood. You are truly Nari's mother." Commander Duhayan had prepared for formal first contact protocols, but the Draconians preferred a more casual approach. They were genuinely interested in learning about human culture and sharing their own knowledge. "We have brought gifts," Scholar Kethver announced. He opened a container filled with glowing crystals. "These are memory stones. They contain the history and knowledge of our people. And we have brought healing supplies," Engineer Yalanin added. "Velther told us that humans suffer from many diseases that we can help treat." Dr. Haywan was fascinated by the Draconian technology. "These memory stones could revolutionize how we store and share information," she said. "And the healing applications could save millions of lives." "We are happy to share our knowledge," Zarlin replied. "But we also want to learn from you. Humans have achieved things that we thought were impossible." "Like what?" Duhayan asked. "Your ability to adapt and work together despite your differences," Kethver explained. "Most species in the galaxy remain isolated within their own groups, but humans form bonds with anyone who shows them kindness." "Is that unusual?" Dr. Jin Wu asked. "Very unusual," Zarlin confirmed. "Even we Draconians, who pride ourselves on being peaceful, rarely form close bonds with other species. But you humans accepted Velther and Nari without hesitation once you understood their situation." The formal talks continued for several days. The Draconians were impressed by human technology and determination. The humans were amazed by Draconian knowledge of medicine, engineering, and interstellar travel. "We propose a cultural exchange program," Zarlin suggested during one of the meetings. "Young Draconians could come here to study human innovation, while human students could visit our worlds to learn our sciences." "That sounds wonderful," Duhayan replied. "But we are concerned about security. Velther told us about the Korath, pirates who attacked Nari's transport." "The Korath are a problem throughout this region of space," Kethver admitted. "But they avoid areas with strong defenses. If we work together, we can protect both our peoples." "We are willing to share our defensive technology," Yalanin added. "And we can establish patrol routes to keep the shipping lanes safe." The negotiations resulted in a historic agreement. Humans and Draconians would form an alliance based on mutual respect and shared goals. Research Station Nexus 7 would become the first joint human-Draconian facility in the galaxy, but the most important changes were happening on a personal level. Nari had become a bridge between the two species, helping humans and Draconians understand each other. Her unique perspective as both human and Draconian made her invaluable to the diplomatic process. "I want to help more people like this," Nari told her father during one of their evening conversations. "I want to be an ambassador between our peoples." "You already are," Velther replied proudly. "You have shown both species that differences make us stronger, not weaker." The station's daily life had changed dramatically. Draconian healers worked alongside human doctors in the medical bay. Draconian engineers collaborated with human technicians to improve the station's systems. Children from both species played together in the newly expanded recreation areas. Mirren had been worried about how to handle Nari's growing connection to her Draconian heritage. But she discovered that love was enough to bridge any gap. "You are growing up to be someone special," Miran told Nari one evening. "I am proud to be your mother." "I am proud to be your daughter," Nari replied. "You taught me that family is about love, not about what species you are." 6 months after the first Draconian ship arrived, construction station Nexus 7 had become a thriving multicultural community. The station's name had been changed to Unity Station, to reflect its new mission as a center for interspecies cooperation. Commander Duhayan, now promoted to Ambassador Duhayan, stood in the main observation deck watching the busy traffic around the station. Human and Draconian ships arrived and departed regularly. Scientists, diplomats, and traders from both species worked together in harmony. "Amazing how much has changed," Dr. Haywan said as she joined him at the window. "A year ago we had never seen an alien being. Now we have friends throughout the galaxy." "It all started with a little girl calling a dragon dad," Duhayan replied with a smile. "Love really can overcome any barrier." In the station's new cultural center, Nari was teaching a group of human and Draconian children about both of their histories. At 15, she had grown into a confident young woman who was equally comfortable in her human and Draconian forms. "The most important thing to remember," Nari told her students, "is that we are all part of the same universe. Our differences make us interesting, but our similarities make us family." Velthor watched his daughter with pride. She had become everything he had hoped for and more. Not just a bridge between species, but a symbol of what was possible when different peoples chose to work together. "She will change the galaxy," Aunt Zarlin said as she joined him, "just like her father did by refusing to give up hope." "No," Velthor replied with a gentle smile. "She will change the galaxy by choosing love over fear, understanding over prejudice, and cooperation over conflict. She learned that from her human family." The story of Unity Station spread throughout both human and Draconian space. It became a symbol of hope and possibility, proving that even the most unlikely friendships could flourish with patience, understanding, and love, and at the center of it all was a little girl who had called a dragon dad, and in doing so had changed the course of history for 2 entire species. The future was bright with possibility, and it had all started with the simple power of a parent's love and a child's courage to be herself.